In this video, I am taking a look back at my InvestEngine ISA for the past year. We're just about 1 year on from opening it. ISA time is quickly coming around again, and I'm starting to give it some thought about where I'm going to have my ISA for the next tax year. I am going to be talking about the investments I've made, but I just want to point out that nothing in this video constitutes investing advice. These are my experiences. Always remember, any kind of investment can go up or down. If you're in any doubt about what you should be doing, please consult a professional before you get started. And there's just a little bit more to get out of the way. This is not a sponsored video or anything like that. These views are my own. I'm putting together this content that will hopefully help anybody researching an InvestEngine ISA or thinking about getting into InvestEngine for this next tax year. So with all that out of the way, let's get into it. Stocks and shares ISAs are the talk of the town in this financial niche of YouTube. So 2022 was a pretty tough year for stocks and shares ISA, and so far 2023 has pretty much carried on in the same vein. Inflation's up, interest rates are up. We are 3 prime ministers deep since the last time I did an ISA update like this, and there's all kinds of mayhem going on around the world. Still, this channel talks about investing consistently for the long term through thick and thin, whatever the weather, so I continue to try to make some extra money, and I continue to try and invest that extra money in what I believe to be the right sort of thing, and that's long-term index tracking ETFs. And for 2022-23, that was with a DIY ISA with InvestEngine. So in this video, I'm going to take a look back at my InvestEngine ISA investments for the past year. Of course, I'll be looking at my returns, how my choices have panned out, but also my experiences on the platform itself. I'll talk a little bit about what has changed over at InvestEngine since I decided to have my stocks and shares ISA with them, and I'll have a think about whether InvestEngine is still the right platform for me. So let's go. You can't really know where you're going without having known where you've been. So for a little context, InvestEngine, it's a relatively new platform to the investing scene. It caught my eye back in 2021 with their no-nonsense, sensible take on long-term investing. Around the time they were brought to my attention, I'd already decided that I was going to move most of my investing to simple index tracking ETFs and nice baskets of stocks that would give me diversified investing in a convenient package, rather than trying to pick individual holdings, which turned out to be a bit like bingo playing for me. So this time last year, my ISA was with Trading 212, which is another excellent low-cost investing platform, but it had closed its doors to new customers. That has since changed and they're open again, but there was a lot of hype and question marks about what was happening over at Trading 212 Towers. So I was ready to move away from their ISA product to try something new. Ultimately, that something new was with InvestEngine, and I'll get into my ISA in just a minute, but here's how I came to that conclusion. So part of this channel's goal is to talk about investing platforms as well as investing in general. And while Trading 212 weren't taking on new customers, there didn't really seem much point in chatting about that when new folks to the scene couldn't even try it. Free trade was pretty close to what Trading 212 were offering, but the costs in free trade were creeping up, and they're still creeping up. Some investments were being placed behind paywalls, and honestly, I don't like it very much. There were cheaper and better options out there for my ETF-based approach. Hargreaves Lansdowne were a big name. Lots of flexibility and proper regulation and all that stuff like you would expect, but there seemed to be more charges than I wanted to pay. It varies, of course, depending on what you're looking for, but I quickly decided on this occasion that it just wasn't for me. They do, however, do a very nice little guide to investing. It's totally free to download, and I'll leave a little link in the description. I had a look around at other platforms. Interactive Investors was another one, but again, I just didn't want to pay those fees. eToro don't offer an ISA, but that was never really on the radar anyway. Stake is another app. They don't offer any ISA. Anyway, things moved on, and after doing a straight up comparison between InvestEngine and Vanguard, the granddaddy of all investing platforms, then I made the jump to InvestEngine. You can check out that comparison video after this one if you want to see InvestEngine go head to head with Vanguard. Again, I'll leave a link in the description below. You'll especially enjoy it if you're a football fan. It's a bit of a weird metaphor, but just go and watch it. Alright, so having chosen InvestEngine in the end and having invested with them for the last year, let's jump into my InvestEngine ISA right now and have a look at what's in the bag. Okay, so here we are. What have we got? We've got £232.74 today. It's not been amazing, but then it's been a pretty grim 12, 16 sort of months across the board. Sure, there have been some individual stocks and shares that have done really, really well, but in general, it's been a bit rubbish in terms of global growth. So that's the way of it. I'm just glad I was able to keep contributing over the last year. So hopefully if and when we see an upswing, I'm going to have preloaded my accounts pretty good here and we'll be able to take advantage. So let's dive into this DIY portfolio, shall we? Okay, so all the little white circles you can see here, that's at points in time when I invested. So there was a period between about September and October when I didn't really invest very much extra at all. Only the auto investment from my income from existing holdings actually went into the ISA. At this point, interest rates had really started to climb here in the UK, and so I'd opted to pay down some debt on the mortgage instead. So you can see I've made up for it recently though, with some chunky deposits taking me up to a balance of around about £11,000. So let's have a look at what's actually in my ISA. So you can buy all kinds of ETFs on InvestEngine. The four that I have gone for are the Vanguard FTSE Developed World, Vanguard S&P 500, Vanguard FTSE 100, and the Vanguard FTSE All World High Dividend Yield. If you're interested in seeing how I came to this decision to have these particular ETFs, I'll leave a link to that video in the description below. But the idea was basically I chose these ETFs way back in April 2022 because I felt over the long term they would give me a nice broad level of diversification. With what was going on in Eastern Europe and Asia at the time, I didn't really want to go for too much in the way of emerging markets or anything like that. Now I realise that this combination is pretty heavily weighted towards the USA, but I'm happy enough with that over the long term. So all these four ETFs are showing a positive return at least, so that's something. Okay, so let's zoom out a wee second. One of the nice features we can see in InvestEngine have is this analytics, and what it'll do is have a look at all the ETFs you've got in all your holdings and smash them all together and give you like summary data on everything you hold. So you can get some pretty good information here. I am 100% equities. There's no bonds in this particular portfolio. The regions you can see pretty heavily weighted in North America, then UK, then Europe, excluding UK, Japan, so on and so forth down the list. That same information could be said for the sectors, holdings, and the asset class. Perhaps the most interesting though of those is the holdings, because it lets you actually see what stocks and shares you're holding inside these ETFs. So people talk about that they don't want to invest in ETFs because they want to buy Apple or they want to buy Microsoft. Well, you're getting those big companies inside these ETFs. That's how it goes. So when you take all those different ETFs that I hold and all the percentages of each of the different assets that are in there and you squash them all together, then you get that summary data. So 3% of my portfolio with InvestEngine is actually Apple, 2.7% is Microsoft, 2.1% is Royal Dutch Shell, and so on and so forth. But because I'm investing in ETFs and I get that nice broad diversification, there's actually 2,686 different stocks and shares in my portfolio. So the whole point of doing a review in the first place is to see how I've done, and then of course maybe think about making some changes going forward for the next tax year. There are a few other ETFs I've been looking at on this platform, and they might get a bit of a look in when the new tax year starts. Of course, here in the UK we're going to get another £20,000 to invest. For now, I think I'm probably going to stick with these, but that could all change. I'm still doing some more research. This is the first time I've really considered what I'm going to do with my stocks and shares ISA this ISA season, so things might change over the next couple of weeks. We'll see. So what's next for InvestEngine? Well, I had the opportunity to speak to the InvestEngine team, and I've been assured that DIY portfolios will continue to be entirely free of any platform fees for this next tax year of 2023-24. That makes it the cheapest platform anywhere to invest in ETFs. It rather weirdly creates this scenario where it's cheaper to invest in Vanguard products on InvestEngine than it is to use Vanguard's own platform. Of course, InvestEngine is properly regulated and takes part in the FSCS scheme, and just like any ISA provider will. So your funds are protected should anything really go sideways with the platform. If you are interested in trying InvestEngine, then please consider using my link. For new accounts, you can get a £25 bonus when you invest at least £100 for 12 months. That's a pretty good start, and that offer isn't available through the general website. You do have to go through an affiliate, a proud affiliate like myself. Also, if you are investing or transferring £10,000 with InvestEngine, before the 2nd of May, you can get a bonus of £100, and you have to keep that 10k invested for a minimum of 12 months before you can withdraw that £100, but a 1% start isn't too bad. Check out more on the terms and conditions again in the link below. It's just really important to remember that any investment, the value can go up or down. Your capital is at risk and you may get back less than you put in. Anyone who says anything else just isn't telling the truth. InvestEngine have also had a bit of a rebrand. They have a fresh, new look and feel on both their website and on their app. A nice new logo and so forth. It doesn't really change much from the point of view of investing, but I think it's a bright change that will hopefully encourage more people to get investing. In terms of what the platform is doing itself, back in June, InvestEngine successfully crowdfunded about £1.5 million from 1,200 investors on Crowdcube. more than doubling their target of about £700,000, I think it was. I think this goes to show there is a lot of good feeling and interest in what InvestEngine are doing, and I hope that bodes well for the future. They have just announced another round of crowdfunding, so I'll be giving that information a good going over as well. Perhaps if you're more interested in picking stocks and shares rather than exclusively ETFs, then the very flexible trading 212 might be more your speed.